My neighbor begged me to take her daughter in for a weekend while she handled something. I agreed. But when Monday came, she was gone. No calls. No replies. Then I received a letter stating I'd been designated the child's guardian. I raced to her house. It was empty. Inside the girl's bag, I found. I live in Sparks, Nevada. I've been here for over a decade. It's quiet. Predictable. I moved here after my marriage ended. No kids of my own. Just me and my dog, Henry. I work from home doing logistics consulting, so most days I'm just in my house, watching the neighborhood from my window, drinking too much coffee, and trying to stay out of trouble. My neighbor Angela moved in 6 or 7 months ago. She lived 3 doors down, in the tan house with the sagging porch. She had a little girl named Maisie. I'd see them in passing, taking out the trash, checking mail, walking back from the grocery store. Angela always looked tired, like she hadn't slept in years. Maisie, on the other hand, was wide-eyed and happy, always chasing butterflies or playing pretend in their yard. Maisie used to come into my yard to play with Henry. I didn't mind. Henry loved her. He's a sweet dog, and Maisie was gentle. Sometimes I'd give her a juice box and let her sit on the porch with us. Angela would always come by afterward to say thanks, but she never stayed long. Just enough to keep things polite. She didn't talk about herself, and I never pushed. Some people like their privacy. Everything changed on a Thursday afternoon. Angela showed up at my front door. Her hands were shaking, and she kept looking over her shoulder like someone was following her. She was holding Maisie's little backpack and a stuffed animal. She didn't even say hello. She just blurted, "Can you keep her? Just for the weekend?" I blinked at her. What? Just for a couple days. I have to deal with something. It's urgent. I wouldn't ask if I had anyone else. Maisie stood behind her, holding her mom's hand. She looked confused, but not scared. I glanced at the backpack, then back at Angela. Something in her face told me not to argue. I nodded. All right. Just the weekend. Angela bent down, hugged her daughter tight, kissed her cheek, whispered something in her ear, then stood up and walked away. She didn't even look back. The first night was easy. Maisie was used to my place. I made mac and cheese, and she sat on the floor feeding noodles to Henry like they were at a tea party. She asked when her mom would be back. I told her Sunday night, maybe Monday morning. Saturday came. No word from Angela. I called her cell, straight to voicemail. I tried again Sunday. Still nothing. I started to get nervous. By Monday morning, I'd gone from worried to sick to my stomach. I walked over to Angela's house and knocked. No answer. I peeked through the blinds, nothing. I called again. Still no reply. Around 11 a.m., I checked the mailbox. That's when I found the envelope. Thick, with my name typed on the front. Sent through priority mail. I opened it and froze. It was a court document. From Washoe County Family Court. It said I had been granted temporary emergency guardianship of Maisie Barnes. The judge's signature was there. So was a form from Angela, listing me as her only trusted contact. It had been signed a week earlier. No one called me. No one told me this was happening. I didn't even know this was possible. I dropped the envelope and ran to Angela's house. Still locked. Still empty. I found a way in through the back door. It was already cracked open. That's when I saw the house had been completely cleaned out. No furniture. No clothes. No pictures. No dishes. No toothbrushes. It was like no one had lived there at all. But in the middle of what used to be Maisie's room was a single pink duffel bag. Her bag. I grabbed it and brought it home. When I unzipped it, I found 3 things inside. 1, a small, purple photo album with soft, fuzzy covers. 2, a flash drive wrapped in plastic 3. A folded-up letter, handwritten, with my name on it. I opened the letter. If you're reading this, I'm already gone. I'm sorry. I had no choice. You were the only person I could trust. They're coming after me, and I couldn't let them take her. Everything you need is on the flash drive. The album has clues, look closely. Please take care of her. Please. Angela. I just sat there, staring at it. I didn't know what any of it meant. What was on the drive? Who was coming? Why would someone want to take Maisie? I plugged the flash drive into my laptop. Inside were dozens of folders, files, scanned documents, some pictures. A bunch of them had watermarks that said confidential in big red letters. One folder was named Blackwell Corp. Project Marigold. That name made my skin crawl. I'd heard of Blackwell before. They were a defense contractor based out of Reno. Worked with government contracts. Rumors about sketchy testing overseas. Nothing solid. Just whispers. Why would Angela have files on them? I opened the photo album. Most of the pictures were normal, Angela with Maisie as a baby, parks, birthday parties. But some were off. A few showed Maisie in what looked like a lab. Wires attached to her arms. Strange machines in the background. Not hospital stuff. Different. Clinical. Cold. There were sticky notes next to some photos. One said, R. Kessler, Blue Ridge Institute. He knows. Another showed Maisie as a toddler, in a room with mirrored walls and men in lab coats watching from behind glass. I shut the album. My heart was pounding. I needed help, so I called someone I knew, Shane Torres. He's a former cop who became a private investigator. We worked together a few years back when I got scammed in a real estate deal. He owed me a favor. I gave him the flash drive, the album, the letter. Told him everything. He didn't laugh. He didn't call me crazy. He just listened. 2 days later, he called me. Pack your stuff, he said. Move. Now. You're being watched. What? I looked into Project Marigold. It's real. It was some kind of gene therapy trial for behavioral conditioning. But it wasn't approved. Blackwell was doing it off the books. I didn't say anything. Angela worked for them. She ran diagnostics or something. But she found out what they were really doing. Some of the kids in the trials, one of them was Maisie. Maisie. My stomach dropped. Shane continued, Angela stole data. That's what's on the drive. Enough to ruin them. She ran. You were her emergency plan. And now they think you might have it. That night, I noticed a black SUV parked across the street. No plates. 2 men sitting inside. They didn't get out. They just waited. Maisie was asleep on the couch, hugging her stuffed raccoon. I stayed up all night watching the SUV. By morning, it was gone. But I knew this wasn't over. I didn't go to work the next day. I called in and said I had a family emergency. That wasn't a lie. I spent the whole day packing bags, checking the locks on the windows, loading canned food and bottled water into my trunk. I wasn't waiting around for whatever Blackwell had planned. Maisie didn't understand. She kept asking when her mom was coming back. I told her the truth I could manage. Your mom had to go somewhere very important. But she left you with me because she loves you. And I'm going to take care of you. She nodded like she believed me. I don't know if she really did. I called Shane again. I told him I was ready to disappear. He told me to drive to a place called Battle Mountain, about 3 hours east. Said he had a friend there who could help us disappear for a bit, lay low. He also said he was still digging into the name Kessler from the photo album. We left that afternoon. But we didn't make it far. About an hour outside of Sparks, on a quiet stretch of I-80, I noticed a car in my rearview mirror. Black SUV. No plates. Same one from before? I couldn't be sure, but it felt wrong. I changed lanes. So did they. I slowed down. They slowed too. Then they sped up and cut in front of me, forcing me onto the shoulder. I slammed the brakes. Maisie screamed. Henry barked like crazy. 2 men got out. One of them wore a windbreaker that said State Welfare Investigations. The other wore plain clothes, but he had a gun clipped at his hip. They walked straight to my window and knocked. I cracked it just a little. The plainclothes man held up a badge. You need to step out of the vehicle. We have a report of a kidnapped child in your car. My heart nearly stopped. That's not true, I said. I'm her legal guardian. I have papers. Right here. I reached for the envelope, but the man yelled, hands where I can see them. Maisie started crying. Get out of the vehicle, he said again. Now. I looked at him. His badge wasn't real. I don't know how I knew, maybe the font, maybe how quickly he put it away. But it didn't look right. I hit the gas. Swerved around the SUV. Tires screeched. I was lucky no one was coming in the other lane. We tore off down the highway at 90 miles per hour. Maisie was crying in the back seat, and Henry was howling, but I kept driving until I saw a sign for Lovelock. I pulled into a gas station, locked the doors, and called Shane. They tried to take her, I said. They pretended to be the damn government. He cursed under his breath. They're getting bold. And sloppy. Then he said something I didn't expect. There's more, he said. I found Dr. Kessler. He didn't die in 2019 like the official records say. He's alive. Hiding out in Elko. Then we're going to Elko, I said. We checked into a cheap motel on the outskirts of town, used cash, and didn't give our names. That night, I went through the flash drive again, looking for anything I'd missed. There was a folder labeled Subject M14. Inside were medical files. Brain scans. Charts with chemical names I couldn't pronounce. And pictures of Maisie. Some showed her crying. Others showed her asleep while wires were hooked up to her head. The notes said things like, reactive response exceeds predicted range, possible cross-generational imprint observed, transfer protocol halted at subject 7 due to instability in M14. I didn't know what half of it meant. But one thing was clear, Maisie wasn't just part of an experiment. She was the experiment. And then I found something worse. A message from someone named R. Kessler, sent to Angela. It said, she's not safe. The markers are activating early. If they find her, they won't stop. Get out. Don't trust anyone. Not even the ones who gave you this data. Maisie had no idea. She was lying on the bed next to Henry, drawing with crayons. She looked so normal. Just a kid. But inside her, something had been changed. Something Blackwell had done. Something they still wanted back. The next morning, Shane sent me an address in Elko. An old trailer behind a junkyard on the edge of town. I drove there with Henry and Maisie, praying it wasn't a trap. It wasn't. An old man with shaking hands and eyes too alert for his age opened the door. He looked at Maisie for a long time. Then he looked at me. You're the one Angela trusted, he said. Then we don't have much time. Dr. Kessler didn't let us inside right away. He just stood in the doorway, watching Maisie. His eyes watered a little, but he didn't smile. She's changing, he said quietly. Faster than expected. I asked what he meant. He motioned for us to come inside. The trailer was a mess. Papers everywhere, cables running across the floor, blinking monitors, half-eaten food on a plastic tray. It smelled like burnt plastic and coffee. But on one wall was a map with pins. All over Nevada. All near military bases or research labs. Kessler sat us down. I was the one who built the foundation of Project Marigold, he said. I didn't know they were using children. Angela didn't either. Until they tried to make her run tests on Maisie. I felt sick again. Maisie was sitting on the floor, playing with Henry like none of this mattered. But I could tell she was listening. She's not dangerous, he said. But she's special. Her DNA was modified in a way that lets her copy and retain emotional responses, quickly. Like trauma, pain, fear, she mirrors it and stores it. Stores it how? I asked. In her mind, but also her body. There's a theory that she can reflect it back. They wanted to train her to become a psychological weapon. Make people feel guilt, fear, even pain, just by proximity. But she was too young. Too unstable. So Angela ran. My jaw clenched. They want her back to control it. Or erase the evidence she exists. That's when he told me what we needed to do. You can't keep running. If you want to end this, you need to go public. But not through the press. They'll bury it. You need to force their hand. We made a plan. Shane helped us set it in motion. He found an old colleague who worked cybercrimes in Vegas. The guy owed Shane badly, and he agreed to help leak the flash drive files onto secure public servers. But we added something extra, live footage. Kessler recorded a video. He explained everything. His role, the project, the misuse, the proof. And then I recorded mine, stating that I had been forced into guardianship, stalked, threatened, and attacked while trying to protect a child. We included photos. Maisie's medical reports. Security footage from the motel parking lot, showing the fake state agents. We sent it out. Not just to news outlets. To politicians. To watchdog groups. To public whistleblower forums. To parents of other subjects we found listed in the documents. Within 48 hours, it exploded. Blackwell denied everything at first. Called it fiction and deeply misleading. But one of their own scientists came forward, someone Shane tracked down. Then another. Congress opened an emergency investigation. Angela's name was mentioned on live TV. So was mine. And that's when the real revenge happened. 3 executives from Blackwell were arrested for fraud and human testing violations. One tried to flee to Mexico. Didn't make it. A federal task force raided the Reno office. They found files, hidden lab spaces, and test equipment buried under a false foundation. Video footage, including some of Maisie from years ago. They found the truth. Angela was dead. Her body was discovered near Mono Lake. Likely killed weeks before she dropped Maisie off with me. She must have known. She must have planned everything before they got to her. I cried when I found out. I didn't tell Maisie everything, just that her mom had gone away for good. That she had done something very brave. Dr. Kessler turned himself in but was granted immunity in exchange for his testimony. He still sends letters sometimes. He says Maisie will never be fully normal, but she's not dangerous. Just different. Maisie started therapy. She's in a small school now, under a new name, in Oregon. No one knows who she is. She's 9 now. Still quiet. Still sweet. But sometimes when someone lies to her, she just stares at them and they start sweating. I'm still her guardian. I sold my house in sparks. Left Nevada behind. But every now and then, someone tries to find us. When that happens, I remind them, gently, quietly, what Blackwell lost. $1 billion project. Their freedom. Their legacy. All because they underestimated a little girl. And a neighbor who said yes when no one else would.